folks, and welcome to station 99.6 FM. It's the Leo Africanus show coming to you live from downtown Manhattan, your one and only source of the cultural highlights of African Americans in the U.S. We're here to update you live about the latest buzz around, so stay tuned.
Before that, let's hear something from our sponsors.
So, on to our news segment. Speaking of the news, what do you think about the prohibition that started this January on the 17th?
Well, ever since World War I, they've been trying to limit our alcohol with their national ban on it. And they've also had the Lever Food and Fuel Control Act of 1917, which regulated our food fuel. This is just the next step.
You remember what they said? They said that alcohol used up too much of the grains and that we were short in supply because of the war.
Well, according to the New York Times, there are about 20 million drinkers in the U.S. right now.
I don't think they're going to take that news very well.
Well, Commissioner Haynes promised that there would be benefits to this prohibition. He stated earlier today that the prohibition has helped get rid of open salons, increased saving accounts, and decreased drunkenness. He also stated that it brought down death rates.
Just how effective is this prohibition?
Well, right now we have a lot of bootleggers and alcohol smuggling going on. However, the government says that it's really cracking down. There are around 2,000 agents working all day on tracking them down.
So what is this costing us taxpayers?
Well, the total for this year is $6 million, but they're expecting to collect a lot of money from fines.
Unfortunately, a lot of our local Harlem business that depend on the sale of alcohol were forced out of business earlier, as were others across the nation. So it looks like it's going to be a hard year. Well, that's all about the prohibition for now.
Moving on to our next segment after this break. Stay tuned and we'll be right back after the commercials.
Ladies, tired of drying your hair with the same old vacuum cleaner? Try Avanche hair dryer. It's smaller, it's faster. It is guaranteed to give you the hair you want with half the time. It's delicate and dainty just like you. It weighs only a pound and easily fits into your hand. Now that beauty and confidence with a speedy motor, it can dry your hair in 20 minutes. Thanks to its long extension cord, you can move around easily. With it, you can blow your man away.
Hello and welcome back to the Leo Africanus show. This is Jade.
And Tiana.
So where were we?
We were talking about all this migration into the city.
Ah yes, Manhattan and other parts of New York are getting quite crowded.
So what's the reason behind all this migration north, particularly people of African descent?
Well, they're calling it the Great Migration. It's mainly because a large part of the African American development is right here in New York, such as the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People.
Well, where can equality have a lot to do with this migration we see happening around us? The First World War stopped the use of European immigrant labor in 1914, so the African Americans in the South took their place. Well, a lot of people think that life in the North is much better for us American folk, plus work around here pays more.
Well, there is the Harlem Renaissance happening here as well.
Yeah, so I guess their motivations were both economic and artistic. We are in the center of quite the cultural, social, and artistic explosion.
Speaking of the Harlem Renaissance, the cultural Harlem Renaissance icon Nora Zeal Hurston just published a new essay titled How It Feels to Be Colored Me, in which she explores the ideas of racial inequality.
Another part of this renaissance is the new radio show run by two young fellows called Freeman Godson and Charles Correll. Their program is called Sam and Henry, and it's about two black men. They left the South to seek a better life in the North. So if any of you are interested in hearing more about these migrations, give them a listen.
While Harlem is becoming quite overpopulated, the housing situation is growing worse. Recent statistics uncovered that more than 5,000 people reside in a single block, and more than 250,000 citizens are crammed into an area 50 blocks long and 8 blocks wide. I have heard stories of people that sleep in shifts. Harlemites can barely scrape together enough money as it is to pay their rent. They're expecting the living situation to only get worse.
Well, that leads us to our next topic, which is the rise of gangsterism. Do you think this increase in population might have led to more gangsterism?
Well, almost all organized crime in Harlem happening right now is run by Italian, Jewish, and Irish gangsters. There is a few black crime factions, but they're primarily interested in gambling and prostitution and drugs.
Do you think these gangsters are a major problem for our people in Harlem?
Well, mobs and gangs of Harlem are mostly because of the prohibition. Because of the demand for alcohol, organized crime factions are making their own beer and liquor. They're also transporting illegal liquor from across the Canadian border.
The gangsters know that Harlem was a place for them to sell their alcohol. They are taking advantage of Harlem businesses. Members of these gangs are threatening and using force against people. African American business owners are struggling to stay away from these gang threats.
Well, that leads us to our final news topic of today, women's suffrage.
Yeah, folks, the 19th Amendment has finally been passed and ratified by Congress. It guarantees all American women the right to vote. This is a real milestone in history.
It has been a lengthy and difficult struggle that took decades of protests.
Few of these who began the struggle have lived to see it carried out. A lot of Americans consider this a radical change. Who knew it could take this long until we could vote?
However, our fellow African American women and some African American men are being prevented from voting.
Various women's suffrage movements have realized that if they excluded African American women, they would gain greater support.
A lot of these movements focused on suffrage are only for white women. They have only helped in marginalizing the African American woman.
Indeed, African American women began experiencing the anti-black women's suffrage movement. The Southern whites fear any political power or influence the African Americans might gain. African American women voting would help them give them a voice.
The ways in which they are attempting to prevent African American voting are atrocious.
They make them wait in lines for up to 12 hours to register to vote and take tests that are required to interpret the Constitution so that they prove that they are eligible to vote. While here in the North, we have also gained the ability to vote. It is very important for us to support our African Americans in the South. And since we're already reporting news flashes from all over the country, another thing that has been going around in the past few days for all you sports fans and jocks, Babe Ruth, the Bambino, as part of the Yankees' vaunted lineup Murderers Row, has been reported to have hit 60 home runs, extending the MLB single-season record.
Wow, I wonder till when he'll be able to keep that record up.
I don't know, but it seems like he'll be on top for quite some time. I mean, his team won the AL record of 110 games and took the AL pennant by 19 games. Also, those guys crushed the Pittsburgh Pirates in the World Series.
Sounds like a dream team, eh?
Exactly, they are on a roll and they're kicking butt. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll introduce you our guest for this evening.
Introducing to you is Monique Houston, wife of the owner of the renowned jazz club Blue Moon, which is 57th Grove Street, just a few steps west of 7th Avenue South, if any of you want to check it out sometime. Some of you might have heard of it. Some of our best underground musicians go there often to perform. So Monique, welcome to our show. It's lovely to have you here.
Yeah, welcome. It's great to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here, Jada, Tiana.
So Monique, how's the jazz club business going on these days?
Well, to be honest, and I don't mean to brag, but it's going pretty damn fine. I mean, with all these underground amazing emerging singers, and we're fortunate enough that they come to my husband and I for help. We help them lay a foundation to their music and their career until they find a sponsor and a record house, and then they go on their own from there. The nice thing about these artists though is that they frequently come back and forth to our clubs for shows. We're pretty tight with a lot of these singers and musicians. The best part about owning this kind of club is that we truly bond and create our own little family. So yeah, jazz and blues are a hit and people can't seem to get enough of them. So the number of people that we have increases night by night.
Sweet. So any highlights of recent shows you've had?
As a matter of fact, yes, Jada. Bessie Smith came and sang at our club just a few days ago. It was one of the biggest hits our club has ever seen. I mean, the place was packed. She sang some of her hit records, singles such as Downhearted Blues, which actually reached #1 in the charts, and others like St. Louis Blues. It was fantastic.
Man, I missed it. I wish I were there. I think she has such an astounding voice. She's incredible. I'm such a fan.
Next time she'll come around, I'll make sure to tell you. How about that?
That'd be great. Are you kidding me? I'd be honored.
What made her show so great and the atmosphere even greater is that we offered to make the club an exhibition to this marvelous artist, Archibald Jr. Multi. He's a painter and he came all the way from Chicago. Poor guy, he's married to his high school sweetheart, but her parents are German immigrants, so they're very opposed to their interracial marriage. But my husband and I absolutely adored them. They're such great people. So we filled our club with his jazzy paintings. My favorite one was blues, which obviously fit the best in our club.
Oh, that's so nice of you guys.
We help our fellow African American artists. Things are quite easy for us, you know.
That's true. Well, Monique, it was delightful to have you here.
The pleasure was all mine, really.
Thanks for being here, Monique. It was a joy to have you. Everybody, stay tuned. We'll be right back after this commercial. Introducing the best coffee there is in town. Maxwell House Coffee, with its newly updated and newly fashioned pack can taste the same old goodness you folks are used to. Now, designed to say the rich aroma of the coffee beans even better, Maxwell House Coffee tastes even better than it smells. So get out there and buy yourself a jar. Don't miss out on its rich greatness. Welcome back, folks. Heads up, this just in. One of my favorite Broadway plays. Most of you all might have heard of it. What Price Glory, written by Maxwell Anderson, has just been released at the cinema earlier this week. It's great on stage, so it must be great on the screen too.
Soon all plays will be on screens and we won't have any Broadway anymore.
Well, we'll go see the movie and decide on which version we like more, and we'll keep our audience posted on that. I just think it's so great to be able to watch a movie at so many different hours during the day.
Plus, movies are cheaper.
That too, which makes it even more convenient.
Unfortunately, you guys will have to end the show here. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I surely had a lot of fun today. So see you here tomorrow at the same time.
Yep, stay tuned for more of your favorite latest news. Bye!